Well, hang on. I'm having trouble getting
Getting things set up, that's understandable.
no, not getting set up for some reason. Starting the stream. Oh, there we go.
All right. That's good to hear there. All right. Yeah. Other than that, everything's going good and all that good stuff there. Like I said, I had to take my sister wanted me to pick up some stuff for her from the mall here, so I did. I was able to take care of that. So make a vlog on the way away before I headed home and all that good jazz there, and blah blah blah. So tonight we're covering the band Yes in our second of our prog rock series here. And this band has a long, lengthy career. And right now we have two Yeses that are on tour right now or doing shows.
And neither one of them have Chris Squire.
I know exactly. Chris Squire, as you know, passed away in 2015, and you know, the two yeses that are out there. The one yes, I guess, features Steve Howe, I guess, Rick Wakeman and Alan White, and the other yes features John Anderson and a couple others there who possibly Tony Kaye or Trevor Rabin, I guess, who I understand. It's like,
Yeah, it's kind of funny that Anderson didn't join the other guys.
yeah, I don't understand what happened there. How the hell this whole bullshit happened there?
Yeah,
Because it's always bullshit whenever a well-respected band that divides into two groups there. I mean, if you remember for a while, there was two L.A. Guns running amok there. We had L.A. Guns with Tracy Guns and Phil Lewis, and along with Steve Riley's L.A. Guns, you know, touring under that particular name there.
that's a lot of reason why sometimes one member will take the name and it's his.
Yeah, Bobby Blotzer, the drummer for the band Rat, is a good example for that. He made all these claims that the rest of the band didn't want to tour, didn't want to work. Well, the problem is they didn't want to work with him. So he took the rights of the name for all to himself, came up with a whole new lineup of Rat. People were not happy about it. It's like Stephen Pearcy's Rat, Warren D. Martini is Rat, Juan Crucier is Rat. Well, in the meantime, they finally got a hold of the name and they took it back, and they got rid of Blotzer. And Blotzer, I guess basically Blotzer wanted to earn money. That's
Yeah,
basically the big thing there. And so you got to remember, most of these bands don't have record deals or contracts or big promotions, so touring and merchandise are the only source of their revenue there.
right.
Yeah, like and God forbid if something should happen to them, whether it's an illness or a surgery or something like that, then there's going to be problems. So, because I remember Jack Russell, the frontman of Great White, he had a hip surgery not long while back. I guess it was in 2009 and 2010 there. Because I remember when I saw them play at the Riverfest in St. Clair, Michigan. He had a little cane on it, didn't move around that much there. He explained why he had that issue there. And I guess during the interview before for his firing from Big Great White, I guess what it was is that the manager was pissing him that he had that surgery. You cost us money. You cost us this and that. Well, you got to remember, a guy's health should be more concerned, don't you think? It should be more important than earning money. I should understand that.
Well, I
But
would think that's not much of a manager, but that's my opinion.
yeah, that's true there. But then again, there are managers out there that are absolute money grubbers. They are.
Yeah,
Jamie Spears, for example, he wanted to take control over his daughter so he could get all that revenue. Bottom line. And guess what? You ain't going to get that much no more.
yeah, he's out of the picture.
Yeah, thank goodness for that because we don't need the best thing for you performers out there to do is not get your parents to be your managers because they're going to favor you at times over every other band member. For example, Beyonce and her father. That's another scenario we got to talk about sometime. But
But
anyway,
tonight's discussion is yes.
yeah, the band, yes. John Anderson, Rick Wakeman, Chris Squire,
Well,
Alan White.
there was several iterations, but
Yeah,
we'll get
there
to
was.
that.
Bill Bruford, as we know, who we mentioned, later became a member of King Crimson years down the line. And of course,
Yeah,
Tony Kaye, the original keyboardist.
yeah, and like I said, we'll kind of discuss this, but
Go ahead.
oh, I was just looking at something.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
All right.
well, we know Chris Squire basically started the band,
Mm-hmm.
and the first bunch in the band was John Anderson,
Yep.
Peter Banks, who
Peter.
played guitar,
Yep.
Chris Squire, of course,
Yep.
Tony Kaye played the organ and keyboard, piano,
Yep.
and Bill Bruford was drums and
Yep.
vibraphone,
That's right.
whatever the heck a vibraphone is.
I'm not too sure about it. I heard him. Probably something related to the xylophone, I guess.
Yeah. Well, their first album was simply titled Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And basically the significant tracks on there were, well, Yesterday and Today was pretty decent. Every Little Thing, a Beatles cover,
Ah,
was actually pretty good.
that's good there.
And let's see what else was there. Well, it started with Beyond and Before, which was actually not too bad. Well, actually, this album's not bad, but it's not a mirror on what's going to happen later.
Yeah.
But it's in its own right, it's a good album.
Time and a word.
Well, hang on, we're getting to that one.
Yeah.
Okay. The next album was Time and a Word.
Yeah, the second album that they had there.
And it also is a pretty decent album on its own, but
Yeah.
like I said, it's not a real sign of what's to come.
Yeah. This was a predecessor for what would happen later on down the line.
And it's the same lineup.
Yep.
So they did 2 albums before they started jumping around. Now this album includes a song called No Opportunity Necessary, No Experience Needed, which is kind of a precursor of what's coming.
Yeah.
It's kind of proggy itself.
Yeah. And I remember seeing footage of that clip there. I guess it was one of those beat clubs kind of performances they had where they had the band's logo at that time. Before the logo we all know by heart would be popping up, repeatedly there. I
Yeah,
remember.
and the funny thing was this song, the break in it, to me sounded like a TV theme.
Interesting there.
It's very, very string driven, and it's pretty decent. I think it's worth a listen.
I see there. Yes.
And they also did Every Days, which is a Stephen Still song the Buffalo Springfield did,
Ah,
covered,
nice.
which was pretty decent. And of course, the song The Time and a Word.
Yes. The title cut there.
Sweet Dreams is a pretty decent song.
Not the song, not the rhythm mix. Keep that in mind, folks. Nope.
But this was also, for what it was, a good album. I would not diss either album at all.
Yeah.
They were decent albums.
Yeah.
But the next album, oh my goodness.
This is the one that broke him in big. And we're talking about the third release, the Yes album. And this featured the first debut of Steve Howe as their new guitarist.
And Rick Wakeman, he didn't hit yet.
No, it was still Tony Kaye on keyboards at that time.
Yeah. I almost goofed.
Yeah, I know. And the two basic main tracks from this album that would make it big on the radio was I've Seen All Good People and, of course, Starship Trooper.
Yeah.
And, of course, a little instrumental that Steve Howe did on front of a live audience there called The Clap, I guess it was called, where people would clap along with this acoustic guitar piece that he was playing there.
And you might also mention Yours Is No Disgrace, which is an excellent song.
Yeah, it is, absolutely.
And I've seen All Good People. Then there was Adventure, which was kind of a short little ditty.
Yep.
And Perpetual Change, which was actually a pretty decent song.
Yes.
In fact, there's a part in the middle where it starts off with somebody's playing one rhythm or one bar or progression,
Yeah.
and then someone breaks in with a different progression on top of it that melds, and then yet someone else breaks in with a different progression on top of that that melds, but three different progressions going at once. I think it actually goes into 4 or 5 of them, but it's really interesting seeing how all of this is different, but it's together yet. I mean, it was all the same. And this was a time when they were pretty much writing their own stuff now.
Yep. They were coming onto their own, developing their own identity, music-wise, and personality. I guess, direction-wise, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And of course, we'll get to the live albums later. Let's do the studios.
Yes.
The next one was what started the Roger Dean covers.
Oh yeah, we know the album that we're talking about, Fragile.
Fragile.
Yes, this would continue the success, and we know what hits. Actually, we know what basic song and 2 hit songs. Well, basically 3, since 2 are lumped together there. Roundabout, and of
this
course,
is where Rick Wakeman joins.
Yeah, this is the debut of Rick Wakeman. The man would later do his version of what was it? What was that? What's that one? Son of a bitch! I know one of them was the Journey to the Center of the Earth. He had that live performance with a narrator, orchestra, and everything there. And
that's an excellent thing, by the way.
Yeah. By the way, I had that album there, and we also cannot forget the 8 Wives of Henry VIII.
6.
6, sorry, my bad. The 6 wives of Henry VIII, my bad.
That's okay.
Yeah, and plus, the details of how they died.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's oh boy, man. And plus, he released it a couple others, if I understand. If anybody knows out there, if be let know in the chat there or the comment section. But he was also known for playing his keyboards with wearing a long robe, resembling a wizard. That was his trademark look there. And by the way, he also hosted a music interview show in which he interviewed the likes of Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath, later on down the early 2000s there. I remember seeing that episode. And of course, we know, as we mentioned, go back to Fragile, the album. They had, of course, Roundabout, one of their biggest hits there. Plus, Long Distance Roundabout and The Fish. Yeah, Round Around. Yeah, my bad. And those 2 songs were like major plays on the radio.
Yeah, they usually went ahead and played The Fish, which was surprising.
Yeah. I wonder if they're doing
any... And that was kind of a Chris Squire thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You got to remember, Chris Squire was not just a regular bass player. He would try to interpret, guitar licks, guitar movements, fast playing on his own, on his bass playing at times.
And it's kind of interesting. You mentioned Rick Wakeman's solo career, but actually outside of Yes, but outside of Bruford, because I don't think he had a solo career.
Mm-hmm.
The other 3 guys had solo albums. Anderson, Howe, and Squire.
Yeah, Steve Howe released a couple of solo albums during this time, which, of course, Roger Dean did the covers for. And John Anderson had a solo record, I guess it was in 1982, if I remember, called Animotion, if I'm correct, or Animation, which are those titles there. And
I remember, he had another one called Elias at Sunwillow.
Yes, and I think it had 3 Stars, which was a Christmas album, I believe, in 84, 85, if I'm correct there. Yeah. And I guess, of course, Steve Howe, got to give him credit. I remember he would later join the band Asia after Yes's dismantling after 1980 there. And I saw Jeff Dow's Asia play at the Ritz in Roseville one time there. you know. And of course, Steve Howe came up and did a couple of songs with the rest of the set with those guys there,
Huh.
which is like, I could have, like, say, geez, I could have met Steve Howe for crying out loud, but I had to had to leave after the show because I had my job at that time.
Yeah.
One of those
But
opportunities you missed out on. I was like, oh, you son of a name goat.
okay, we mentioned Roundabout.
Yep,
Then there was Cans and Brom, which
yep,
was a Wakeman number.
yep.
We Have Heaven, which was an Anderson number. And South Side of the Sky, which was a great little song.
Yes, I remember hearing that. I remember I had that album myself there. And by the way, going back to our previous group, King Crimson, John Anderson sang lead vocals on a track called Prince Rupert Awakes on that
Wow.
suite called Lizard that we mentioned. That's on the
Right.
Lizard album. He sang on the opening track of that whole section there, that whole story there.
Yeah. Then we followed that with 5% for Nothing, which was a Bruford number.
Yeah,
It's a little short one.
yeah,
Then we get into the one you was talking about, Long Distance Runaround.
and the fish.
Roundabout,
Roundabout, yeah,
the fish.
yep,
Then Mood for a Day, which is a Steve Howe, pretty decent guitar solo.
yep,
Uh, acoustic.
yeah. And by the way, Steve Howe, credit to him, he was one one of the very few guitar players out there next to Ted Nugent to interpret a large hollow body guitar into rock and roll there.
Yeah. And then the album closes with Heart of the Sunrise.
Hmm.
Great song.
Yeah. And of course, the one that would come afterwards, I guess, would be that one you're talking, Tales from this Tropical
Oh, no.
Oceans. Okay.
Close to the Edge.
Oh my God, that's one of that would begin the well, not necessarily begin it. It happened a couple times. It happened with King Crimson's Lizard, as we mentioned in the previous show. There, the whole title cut was about 20,
Around 20 minutes.
20 minutes long there, and this would kind of like this would actually kind of gave the perception about prog rock bands that people would joke about, like you're midway halfway through the show there. It's about an hour and a half into this prog rock band's playing, and they're only playing the second track.
Yeah. The funny thing is, most prog rock fans point to this album and that song
Yeah,
as one of their favorites.
yeah. A lot of, I mean, they got a better idea. I remember seeing that. You ever saw the movie Yes Songs?
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember seeing that one time at the on the show called Night Flight during the weekend, which used to run on the USA Network there. And man, interesting show they had. A lot of these prog rock bands didn't have all the lasers, they didn't really have much of the technology there that most prog rock bands like the screen behind the band, like bands like Pink Floyd and others would have there, like that we see like Foo Fighters, Kiss, So they had to rely on whatever they can. So they had to rely on this particular light, this particular whatever it's called, that twirling circle with the sparkles on it that would just light up the whole arena there.
Well, we'll talk a lot more about that album, or the Yes songs, when we get to live.
Oh yeah. All right, and the next one
Okay,
here.
this album opens with Close to the Edge, which includes The Solid Time of Change, Total Mass Retain, I Get Up, I Get Down, Seasons of Man.
Yeah. And which, by
It
the way,
also had, oh, go ahead.
and I'm taking this is the remastered version with the extra tracks.
Actually, I'm looking at the original.
Oh, yeah, Close to the Edge here and there. Because I have it a list out there. It's just 3 tracks on there: the title
Right,
cut and
that's
You
it.
and I. I see there. All right.
and Siberian Khatru.
Okay, yeah. And the next one here is one we discussed on this program a couple of times. Tales from Topographic Oceans.
Yeah, a 2 record set, huge, and it only has 4 tracks, but they're kind of connected,
Yes,
and
I'm
each
reading the
track is
titles
like
right
20
now.
minutes long.
Yeah. The same record that would do this would be Cyborg by Klaus Schulze, who was an electronic musician from Germany there, who used to be a member of Tangerine Dream years before.
Well, it's significant because outside of Bruford, who had left,
Yeah.
and Alan White came in,
Yep.
it's, it still had the same members.
Yeah. Other than Bruford, as we mentioned there. And the tracks for this album here: The Revealing Science of God, The Remembering, Hide the Memory, The Ancient, Giants Under the Sun, and Ritual, Nos Psalms de Soel, if I
Yeah,
pronounce that right.
yeah, it kind of went into a little thing there, didn't they?
Yes, it did. It kind of like went into a little, it's kind of a concept, if we want to say there, or a theme there.
Yeah,
I guess the tracks itself are tales in their own right.
yeah, and I guess that album was too much for Rick Wakeman
Yeah.
because this is about the time he left the group.
Yes, and Patrick Moran's come in, who of course you remember would later replace Mike Pinder in the Moody Blues in the early 80s there. And the
Right.
result from this new version would be Relayer in 1974, which I also
Which
had on.
again only had 3 songs.
Yeah, The Gates of Delirium, which is a classic there. Sound Chaser on, and To Be Over on side 2 there.
Yeah, and the Gates of Delirium, they pulled about a 3 to 5 minute part of it called Soon
Mm.
and made that a single.
Ah, and I guess that's probably towards the that's the end of the track basically.
Pretty much.
Soon, yep, I know what you're talking about there, and it's very haunting piece section of that whole track.
Yeah,
Very haunting when you look at it.
and that's another good album.
It
At
is.
this point, I have a list from those albums, but I'm going to warn you ahead of time that it's going to be very heavy
Yep.
on the Yes album
All
and
right.
Fragile. And
No,
Cross the
no,
Edge.
no surprise about that. No surprise.
Okay, my number 10, I've Seen All Good People.
Yep.
Surprise.
Okay.
But that's a good song.
Don't blame you.
9, Roundabout.
Classic, still played on the radio this day. I remember. I think if you look on YouTube, you could probably find a roundabout remix somewhere. I guess some producer did some remix for that song there. I'm trying to. I should probably find that when we're done with this program and take a listen to that. And probably should also take a listen to a dance version of "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins. I remember having that on my cell phone a couple years back when I worked at the previous job that would play at time. Okay.
And my number, wherever I left off,
8.
8 is Heart of the Sunrise. My number 7 is South Side of the Sky.
From Fragile, as you mentioned.
My number 6 is Siberian Khatru.
Yep.
My number 5 is Perpetual Change. My number 4 is, Yours Is No Disgrace.
Yeah, good song there.
My number 3 is Close to the Edge.
The title cut for the album that we mentioned earlier there.
My number 2 is Starship Trooper.
Great song, them.
Absolutely a fantastic song.
Absolutely. I double agree on that one there.
And my number 1 is And You and I. For some reason, I really like that song.
All right, so on to the list here, the album list of albums. 1977, Going for the One, which I have on my MP3 there. Great,
Yeah.
a great album to listen to when you're on your way to the Renaissance Festival. When you think about it, there it has that Renaissance feel. You remember Yes's music often has that Renaissance knights and wizards, Dungeons and Dragons kind of feel to it. When you listen to tracks like Gates of Delirium, Turn of the Century, or Parallels, Awaken its own self, it has. That's the thing about this band here, along with Jethro Tull, I should say there, because they're more, you know, Renaissance folk and hard rock, combined together
Right.
than what Yes is.
And the interesting thing on this album is Rick Wakeman rejoined the group.
Yep. Yep. I guess I guess they worked it out, between those two sides, I guess. And Patrick Moraz, went on to do a couple solo records. Who, as we mentioned earlier, joining the Moody Blues.
Right. Songs of note on this album are Going for the One, Wondrous Stories. Of course, the other stuff's not bad now.
Oh yeah,
Awaken.
Turn of the Century. That's a damn
Right.
good song there.
Parallels.
Great, and of course the piece Awaken.
Right.
Yes, very good album there. Very, very good record there. Turn of the Century has those hooks in that song, which kind of like gives you a sentimental feel when you think about it there.
Yeah.
And by the way, that album cover was probably, I think it was one of the few albums which Hypnosis did the cover for. I guess they also do for the record that would come after that, 78's Tormato. Now,
Yeah.
Hypnosis, as we know, was Aubrey Powell and Storm Thorgerson, who did album covers for Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Alan Parsons Project, 10cc, did a couple for Black Sabbath, one for AC/DC. Remember the Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap
Yeah.
in 81 there? And also they did a whole bunch of album covers. Well, Storm Thorgerson did after when Hypnosis decided to disband in the 80s there. Thorgerson would later do covers for Pink Floyd compilations. He also did for some of the bands like Muse, the Mars Volata. I think that's how that band is pronounced here and there.
Mars Volta.
Mars Volta. Thank you. Yes. Remember, at times my pronunciation at times is it's basically, so you get where I'm coming from there. Shout out
No
to
sweat.
Steve. Shout out to Steve Caroline in the chat there. He wants to say hi. Hi, how you doing there, dude? There.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
On Tormato, there's several interesting songs. Well, they're all good. Well,
One.
it's hard for me to find a Yes song I don't like.
And this is one of the first Yes albums to not have 20-minute tracks there. Well, not for a while there. The one that interests me is the title "Don't Kill the Whale." I guess it's
Yeah.
about environment.
And that's a good song.
Yeah. From what I understand, that's about the environment issues. Don't kill the animals. So they're here for a reason. There, I think that's what it's about. If I'm correct.
Yeah.
Ah.
But like I said, it's the same lineup as the previous album.
Yes, the lineup we all know by heart.
Well, the only one that's kind of variable is White Bruford.
Yeah. And plus, this also featured. I like the title of this track here, "Arriving UFO."
UFO. Yeah.
Ah. And this one's about, I guess, a UFO arriving on the Earth there, I guess, greeting the
Yeah.
humans. Take us to your leader. He's right here. Oh, fuck him. He's a loser. I'm going to head back home. This planet sucks. Blah. So, and of course, soon after this, Rick Wakeman would leave again, along with John Anderson. They would depart. Now, we don't know what the hell his situation was with that, but when it was I remember reading Cream magazine about this situation, and the replacements for those two was even more.
Basically the Buggles.
Yeah, Jeff Downes and Trevor Horn, who a year before, in 1979, had a hit of their own called "Video Killed the Radio Star."
Yeah.
And that, of course, is we all.
It's not a bad album.
No, it's a damn good record. I remember hearing it played the first track on the first track from the album being played on the radio there, Machine
Messiah.
Yes. It's kind of like, kind of looking up to a god of sorts, like a computerized god, which kind of like makes sense today since people look to machines as a god. Like the cell
Yeah,
phones. We pay more attention to our cell phones than we pay attention to everything else out there. Now, of course, the track also being, the album continues with White Car, which is a short, very short track there. Does It Really Happen? And closing up side one. Side two begins with three more tracks: Into the Lens, Run Through the Light, which is another damn good song there. And the
yeah.
closing track, Tempest Fidget. They would go on tour there, and then that was it. Yes was no more afterwards. There was some sort of drama going on behind the scenes as well there. A lot of arguments, a lot of beef going on there.
Yeah, they pretty much disappeared for what, 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years. Well, actually, 3 years basically there.
And then this is when they released one of their biggest selling albums.
Yeah,
Uh,
and they would go commercial as well, go commercial gold, but
yeah,
while still holding on to their true intentions.
yeah,
90125, which was basically got the title from that as a cat. It was also the same number as their catalog. They were
right.
later signed with Atco Records, which is distributed by their previous label, Atlantic Records. And the story was that they were supposed to be called Cinema, was the name of the album there.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
decided, but I guess the record company convinced them, hey, call it Yes, since it's Anderson, Tony Kaye, and Alan White, and Chris Squire. We got the goods right there. Oh, they had
Trevor
now was
Rabin.
Trevor Rabin, that's their new guitarist there, who later on would do some soundtrack work just as well there.
Yeah.
Various movies and TV shows, if I'm correct. I'll look that up later on.
And this album opened with what essentially I think turned out to be their biggest hit.
Yeah, Owner of a Lonely
Owner.
Heart,
Yeah,
which was produced by Trevor Horn.
yeah,
And Trevor Horn, as we mentioned, would become a big part of the UK British music scene around the 80s there. He would later co-form a label called ZTT, which would sign, one of many couple acts that would be on that label would be, of course, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Trevor Horn
yeah,
would record one more album with As the Buggles, an album called Adventures in Modern Recording, in which he took the track Into the Lens, interpreted that into a new version called I Am a Camera, since that was one of the main lyrics of that track there.
right.
Both tracks, I should say.
It also included Hold On, decent song.
Yep,
It Can Happen, another
yep.
decent song.
Changes.
Changes. And then it opens side two with Cinema, which is,
A short instrumental there.
and then they do Leave It, which is,
A cappella with a little drum machine there, a little bit of keyboards, which, if you never heard the story about the making of that video, the two video directors, I guess it was Godley and Cream, if I'm correct, they
it
made
looks like their work.
how many versions of
Yeah,
that
it
video?
looks like their work.
Yeah, it was. The one official video there would have, of course, become, with all these effects on that, but there was tons and tons of versions of that track there. Tons of video versions of there. A couple of them featuring all the members, two of the members, four of the members, three of the members, a couple of them upside down. I got to look out there because there's a lot more to that.
Then they followed that with Our Song, which is a decent song.
Yep,
City of Love, which is decent. And Hearts,
yep.
which is decent.
Good song there, yeah.
It's funny, like I said, you're probably not going to hear me say lousy because I like most of the songs.
Yeah.
Then they waited about 4 or 5 years before they put out Big Generator.
Yeah, it came out at the end of 1987 there. I guess it was going through a lot of studio situations there. Now, I'm looking up the the music video situation with Leave It. It says, according to Wikipedia, the music video, of course, as we are corrected, directed by Godley and Cream, shows the band standing while going through video-created abstract effects. It was the first music videos that utilized computer-generated imagery. 18 different variations of that video were made. The first one, for instance, simply had the band upside down, but motionless throughout the whole song. With the 11th one chosen as the standard version, the one that we also become the official video. And half-hour documentary of the making of that video was on MTV in 1984. A marathon showing all 18 videos, one right after another, was also shown on the same network. I guess it was an April Fool's joke that they were doing with that one there.
I kind of wished I'd seen that.
And it was produced by, of course, Trevor Horn.
Rabin.
And it was also in, appeared
Trevor
as Trevor Rabin. No, Trevor Horn.
Oh.
Yeah,
but
remember.
Trevor Rabin was in the band.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He produced this track and owner of A Lonely Heart. Now, and during the tours there, it'll be Cinema as the opening track and Leave It coming afterwards. It was performed on 113 shows on the 9012 live tour, but was not performed since that, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And a big generator there. I remember Rhythm of Love was a big hit. Love Will Find a Way was an even bigger hit. They played the album in its entirety that year.
Shoot High, Aim Low.
Yeah, another good one there. And of course, we travel on to 1991 with an interesting concept here. The album Union.
Yeah, and it's funny because it was like all the members of Yes together.
Yes.
But not at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of weird.
Until they went on tour. This was both Yes of Past and Yes of Present together on one tour there. And this was, John Anderson did mention how would it be like to have both generations of Yes on one stage, let alone one album. Well, that wish came true with this one here.
Yeah.
And the song, Lift Me Up, I guess was, I remember seeing the video for that. It was kind of like an inspirational video to helping others.
Right.
Yeah.
That definitely had to be Anderson generated.
Yeah, absolutely. And it had the most tracks on this album there. And by the way, this would be on the start of their album. This would be released on Arista Records, believe it or not. Arista Records, paid big bucks for Yes's contract from Atlantic, Atco, and therefore this album was released there. And of course, I'm not too sure what it was. I guess this was after the early 80s there, no, early 90s. It would be Anderson, Squire, Bruford, and I guess they would have that project.
Wakeman, Howe.
Yes, thank you. And I guess
Squire was the only one that wasn't on that album, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was surprising. I guess it was supposed to have been a Yes album, but Squire opted out and figured, let's call it this instead of Yes, out of respect to Chris,
Yeah.
And how many tracks are on the Union here? I guess there's a lot here.
Hang on, to pull it back up.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a trip there. Of course, it would go back to the 9012 live lineup for 1994's Talk,
right,
which came out on a label called Victory Records, which was ran by a former Atlantic Records executive, Phil Carson. And of course, they released 2 live albums, which we'll get to later on. Open Your Eyes would, Open Your Eyes would come out in 1997. I guess they came out on the independent label, if I'm correct there.
Yeah.
Yes. By that time, all the prog rock bands were coming out on indie labels there. Some of them, there was this one
Yeah,
record
because the
label.
big labels just didn't really want to deal with it.
No, because most of the major labels are interested in what's trending at the moment. There, like
Right.
they figured, what's trending right now was one that makes the most money. And you got to remember at that time, alternative was the main thing. Bands like New Radicals, Blues Trevor, and all those groups out there.
Yeah.
They got to go with.
Alternative to music.
hmm But the alternative was now the mainstream,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Me,
Actually,
my alter. Go ahead.
Keys to the Ascension, or Keys to Ascension,
Yep.
was actually half live, half studio.
Oh, really? There.
So I have them listed among the studio albums.
All right. So definitely got to talk about that one there.
Well, the first one, essentially, like I said, it had studio and live, and they, of course, went back and did some of the old stuff like Siberian Khatru, Revealing Science of God, America, which,
Yep.
by the way, I didn't mention. That's a pretty decent track. And
Roundabout and Starship Trooper are included as well.
yeah, and
Key to Ascension number 2. I guess that's the same thing. I guess if I take it, half live, half the studio.
yeah, it's kind of a continuation of one, but
Mm-hmm.
not really. I mean,
Ah.
it kind of continues the theme, but they're two different albums. This one had I've Seen All Good People,
Yep.
Going for the One, Turn of the Century, and You and I, which it's that song's great live for some reason.
I see there. Of course, it continues with Mind Drive, Footprints, Bring Me to the Power, Children of Light, which is the
Yeah.
album's closer.
So
Now,
they were basically half live and half studio.
for these two releases here. Open Your Eyes comes out the same year, 1997.
Yeah.
Yes, and I understand. Well, is it the same lineup, or is it Alan White, Rakeman, Anderson, Howe, and Squire? Is it still that lineup?
Let me take a look.
Yeah, because I'm wondering, because usually around this.
Anderson, Howe, Billy Sherwood,
Billy Sherwood. Yeah, I guess
Chris
he's
Squire,
Chris Squire.
Alan White.
All right, there. And Billy Sherwood I saw it at this time. It was like Billy Sherwood. What was he playing? Keyboards, I guess.
Probably.
All right, there. So Rick Wakeman wasn't
No.
involved at that point.
Well, yeah, electric guitar,
Ah.
keyboards on some tracks,
Mm-hmm.
and harmony and vocal.
Yes. So I guess another changes went on with that group there. I guess you could say. Shout out to Minnesota Vikings fan in my chat here. And the next album in 1999, The Ladder.
Yeah, and that one included Henderson, Howe, Sherwood, Squire, Alan White, and then a name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. He did keyboards.
Oh,
Oh, it's Igor.
Igor who? Igor something there. I guess that's right.
I don't know.
I don't know. But so yes,
Nothing
at this
to-
point was now a 6-man lineup.
Yeah.
Nice. And the tracks on this album, Homeworld, The Ladder, It Would Be a Good Day, The River, Lightning Strikes, Can I, Face to Face, If You Only Knew, To Be Alive, Hep Yada, finally, The Messenger, New Language, and 9 Voices, Long Walker. From that release there. Those are the tracks that are there. 2001 sees the album Magnification. The title cut starts off the album. Spirit of Survival, Don't Go, Give Love Each Day, which what everybody needs to do today, I should say. Can you imagine? We agree, soft as a dove, dream time in the presence of, and the closer, time is time.
Now, the group at this time included Anderson, Howe, Squire, and White. And then they had additional musicians, a couple of them that did the other stuff, but they weren't official members of the group.
Backup musicians,
So they
I
were back
guess.
to the four.
I see there. All right, I see
There's
there.
a lot of this stuff going around, you know.
Yeah, but then again, that stuff happens all the time when you think about it there. All
Yeah.
the time.
Then an album that I actually don't know that I've ever heard. Fly From Here.
Live from here.
Fly From Here.
Oh, Fly from here. My bad. You got to remember, a lot of these groups are releasing albums on these indie labels that don't really get out to many markets out there, let alone record stores. So finding some of these albums out there is like a surprise to us,
Yeah. Let's see, I'm trying to find the group members. Well, different singer.
Yep. Oh, wow. That's the new. Because I remember Anderson had some vocal problems, and I guess, Yes decided to carry on without them to Anderson's disapproval.
Yeah. Been off David, Steve Howe, Chris Squire, Alan White, Jeff Downs, and Trevor Rabin. They call Trevor Horn.
Trevor Horn?
They,
Trevor
they
Horn
called
came
him-
back.
they had the vocals come back.
Oh, wow. So they got. So who did the guitar playing? This other guy there.
Steve Howe was still in the band.
All right. So Trevor Horn was. Did he do vocals or somebody? Who's the other guy? Al David, I guess it was.
Yes, something David, but I couldn't tell what the name was.
And the tracks on this album are Fly From Here Overture, parts 1, 2, and 3 of Fly From Here, We Can Fly, Sad Night at the Airfield, Madman on the Screens. It's basically parts 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let me go on here. Part 1, We Can Fly. Part 2, Sad Night at the Airfield. Part 3, Madman at the Scenes. Part 4, Bumpy Ride. And Part 5, We Can Fly Reprise. And the 3 tracks that follow that is The Man You Always Wanted Me to Be, Life on the Film Set, Hour of Need, Solitaire, Into the Storm, Hour of Need, which is the full-length version on this one here, and a bonus track called "Don't Take No for an Answer."
Huh.
All right, Heaven and Earth will follow in 2014 with "Believe Again," The Game, Step Beyond, my bad, To Ascend, In a World of Our Own, Light of the Ages, It Was All We Knew, Subway Walls.
And this group still had Howe, Squire, Alan White, and the two Buggles.
Oh, wow. So we got the drama lineup once again.
Yeah.
Ah, nice. And of course, in 2019, we have From a Page. The tracks from that album.
The Quest.
Yep. The request, after From the Page here in 2019, the Quest is just came out this year. Believe it or not, 2021. But going back to the previous one, oh, my bad. But stupid Earl, From the Page is an EP for crying out. I did not see that little thing at the end.
It wasn't on the listing I was looking at.
Oh, dang gummit. Well, the EP has From the Page, I'm getting fumbling my words, dang gummit. From a Page, the EP has the tracks To the Moment, Words on a Page, From the Turn of a Card, The Gift of Love, and a track called the single mix of a track called To the Moment. Yeah. Now, The Quest came out in 2021, as we just mentioned there. And the tracks
Yeah.
for that album are The Ice Bridge, Dare to Know, Minus the Man, Leave Well Alone, The Western Edge, Future Memories, Music to My Ears, A Living Island, Sister Sleeping Soul, Mystery Tour, Damaged World is the closing track from that.
Yeah, and this one is the first Yes album that doesn't have Chris Squire on it.
Chris Squire at that time, of course, had passed away, as we mentioned, in the
What it
20.
has is John Davison, Steve Howe, Jeff Downs, Billy Sherwood, and Alan White.
Uh, and I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the situation here. What's going on here with the current Yes lineups here? Give it a couple minutes here. Mm-hmm. And here. Let's see here. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I'm trying to find a situation here. 2010. Now in August. This is from the Wikipedia once again. In August 2010, it was announced that new material from would have been written for the Fly From Here, their 20th album. Yes,
Right.
had signed a deal with a label called Frontiers Records and began recording in L.A. with Trevor Horn serving as producer. Much of the album material is extrapolated from a pair of songs written by Horn and Geoff Dowes around the time that they have been Yes members around 1980.
Extrapolated.
Extrapolated, thank you. During the recording sessions, the band thought it would be wise to bring Geoff Dowes back in to replace Oliver Wakeman on keyboards. I guess that he's Rick's son, from what I take it there.
Yeah, he's never really credited on anything.
Yeah, because I remember there was an Alan Wakeman, if I'm correct, that played with keyboards for Ozzy Osbourne around 2007, if I remember. Because me and a buddy had 3 tickets to the Ozfest that year.
Wow.
Yeah, so we went to check that out there.
Now,
Go ahead.
I guess we can move on to the live albums.
Yes.
The first one is Yes Songs, which was actually a movie too.
Yep. 3 albums set.
Yeah, and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. Did we forget an album that they put out called Yesterday?
No, that's a compilation.
Oh, okay, there we go. Thank goodness. That album just came to mind. I was like, holy cow. Oops. We may have forgot that one there.
They opened with an excerpt from the Firebird Suite, which is pretty decent. And then they go into Siberian Khatru, Heart of the Sunrise, Perpetual Change, and You and I, Mood for a Day, and a pretty decent keyboard piece if you're into keyboards at all. Excerpts from Six Wives of Henry VIII.
Yep.
He goes all over the place on that one. It's really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Then it goes into Roundabout, The South Side of the Sky. No, I've seen All Good People. What am I talking about?
All right, there. I was going to say there.
Then Long Distance Runaround and The Fish. Close to the Edge. And side 6. How often can you say that? Had Yours Is No Disgrace. And closes with Starship Trooper.
All right.
So if you want, and Yes Live was good. I've seen him in concert 3 times.
All right. It's kind of
And
funny.
Yes Live.
You know what? I guess the version that I saw of that movie was possibly edited for television, because Because when the ones I seen, the first track after the introduction would be "I've seen all good people" there. So obviously they must have edited
They
it down.
probably moved some stuff
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
because the album, the opening Firebird thing goes right into Siberian Cat Crew.
yeah. So how long was it? It was concert the movie its own self?
Uh,
2 hours.
gosh,
2 hours, I think it
I
was.
don't think it was. I think it's about an hour 45, maybe.
Oh, close
And
to
I'm
it.
guessing.
Because I
And
guess how TV bomb movies are when it comes to TV when it's shown on TV there. Plus the commercials is as well there, so they have to edit some things out there if I'm correct.
yeah. And their next live album was Yes Shows.
Yep. And of course featuring the artwork of Roger Dean there, just as
Yeah.
well. And
And again, go ahead.
we got to give Roger Dean his absolute due.
Oh, yeah.
He made us some real tripped out album covers and designs for the album covers, not just for Yes. An African based group called Odessa. He did covers for them. He did covers for other bands like Budgie, Paladin, I guess it was.
Right.
Some jazz musician whose name escapes me. He did the cover for his project there. Final something there. I got to look that up again there, for crying out loud. And there was a This is kind of an odd thing here. A Motown Chartbusters album, volumes 2 or 3, I guess it was. He did the cover for that, which is kind of oddish because Motown is considered R&B, soul, and not related to anything progressive. So it's kind of odd to see have tracks by the Temptations, the Supremes, the Four Tops, on that compilation album, which features artwork by Roger Dean,
Yeah.
which is kind of odd, very very odd when you look at it there.
A little unusual.
Yeah, no, very unusual. But then again, it was the But then again, it was the Let me find it here. Yep, absolutely. I got it right here. It's available on Discogs, right now. And wait a minute here. What the fuck here? Let me see here. It came out in 1969 there.
Hmm.
And let me look it up here. Let me blah blah.
Early.
Early album, very early out there. And I guess they changed the cover because the original was done by Roger Dean, as we all know. Yep, I found it right here. Found it right here. Yep, right here. I'm looking at the front and back covers right now, and yep, no doubt, Roger Dean did the cover for it. Features Diana Ross, Stevie Wonder, Jackson 5, Diana Ross. Well, no, excuse me, the Supremes and the Four Tops, the Temptations. Of course, on and on and on and on there.
Yeah. Now, Yes Shows
Yep.
is also six. No, it's not. It's only four-sided.
Yeah. Oh, thought it was going to be a triple album, I guess.
This one featured more of their variants from their other one.
Yep.
It's Parallels, Time and a Word,
Mm-hmm.
Going for the One, The Gates of Delirium,
Yep.
Don't Kill the Whale, Ritual Part 1,
Mm.
Ritual Part 2, which basically is a continuation, and Wondrous Stories. So they had absolutely nothing on that album from the Yes Songs album.
I see. This is a different version, I guess you could say.
Well, it's a totally different album,
Mm.
which actually that's something that you got to kind of admire that they didn't
Ah.
repeat anything.
Oh, by that way, I don't want to go back to the Motown thing here. This is the UK version that I'm referring to that Roger Dean did the cover for. It was originally titled British Motown Chartbusters. After this, the title Motown Chartbusters was soon used afterwards.
Yeah.
These were hits that made it big in the UK there, so it kind of explains the whole thing there. If I'm looking there. Right.
And the next one was 9012 Live, the solos.
Yeah, that's another thing. I remember seeing the United 1-2 live, the complete concert. I guess it was an appetizer for the next record, Big Generator, if I'm correct.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and why couldn't he just come out with a live album back then instead of just using the solos?
Yeah, I know it's kind of weird, really.
All right, there. And I'll let you carry on here for a second. I think I gotta check something on the thing here.
Okay, the next one is Something's Coming. Interesting. Oh, it's a BBC thing.
All right, there.
And then after that was Things. Oh, House of Yes. That's a good one. That also had a video that went with it.
All right.
That was one that did at the. It'll come to me.
All right.
Live from the House of Blues.
I see there.
I started that one with Yours Is No Disgrace. Time in a Word. Well, all of a sudden I'm having trouble reading.
Well, that's understandable there.
Homeworld.
All right.
Perpetual Change. Lightning Strikes. The Messenger. Ritual.
All right.
And You and I. And then It Would Be a Good Day. Or It Will Be a Good Day. Face to Face. Awaken.
All right.
I've Seen All Good People. Cinema. Owner of a Lonely Heart. Roundabout.
All right. There we go there.
The thing is, I thought I remembered Soon being done in that, but I guess it wasn't.
I didn't interrupt you. Person named Real Mysterious, he's tried to go into our chat there, but as we all know, you have to be a subscriber for 5 weeks, in order to get into chat there. That's how it was set when Dave Rose is on the show here. And, I'm trying to find, how did he set or get to set the describe? Where did he go to the content? I guess was. Let me go to content here. Subscribers, and looks. I think it's got to go to. I got to listen to that whole episode once again, to find out where to go there.
Yeah.
Settings, I guess. Go to settings here. See how it goes here.
Well, I would kind of leave it at 5 weeks unless there's somebody you want to pull in.
All right, there. Who knows? Well, I'll try my best. I'll reply to. I'll give him my reply if I don't settle this whole thing out there. Permissions here and there. All right. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Blah, blah, blah. Sorry to take your time. You go ahead, Ark. I'm going to work on this here, there.
Well, basically, there's a couple more live albums, but this is kind of the place to quit on this and conclude our Yes series.
Yeah, and of course, we cannot forget the one that we mentioned, Keys Ascension number 1 and 2 there. And,
right.
And you think it's going to be, you think they'll eventually work some things out where they're able to finally become one Yes once and for all, once more?
Possibly, but heck, you look at it, they're getting a little old.
Yeah, that's true there, yeah.
They're probably at a point that they don't want to fool with it anymore.
I know that's true there because, you look at Steve Howe now, he's starting to lose a little bit of hair on the top there. And Chris Squire had a little weight gain prior to his death there.
Yeah,
And
which
so they,
generally, unfortunately, happens a lot to people as they get older,
yeah, I know, exactly. It happened
unless
to
you're really careful.
on there. Yeah, look at Axl Rose, Vince Neil, members of Uriah Heep, their late drummer, Lee Kerslake. He really gained a lot of weight there.
Yeah,
Yeah, there. I have to work on this, had to work on this, this subscriber 5 week situation here, probably in a while there, when we get done from the air.
yeah. Are we doing Thursday?
Yes, we are at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And what band are we going to be covering pretty on this next on our series?
Emerson, Lake, and Palmer.
Okay, there we go. Got to give those guys. They're absolute, probably one of the biggest successful prog rock bands out there. You look at the cover of Emerson, Lake, and Palmer in concert, the gatefold front cover there, and you see how massively big this band had gotten.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely there. You will look at it, it's like, whoa, dude. And Minnesota Vikings fan is in my chat. Shout out to him again. Hopefully, YR will get sucked away by the tornado going through H-Town. Leave up to Mikey, Vikings fan there. Right there. And I guess that's it for our show for this afternoon here.
Yeah, that's pretty much gonna do our yes.
Yep, for the time being there.
Right.
And once again, this coming Thursday will be the band Emerson, Lake and Palmer there, and got to give those guys absolute mucho credit there.
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And let me end up with this little note here. I tried to make a video about this particular topic here. Are you into Star Wars?
Yeah.
All right. Yes. Nice.
I was gonna say who isn't, but there are people out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. During the pandemic, I was looking at channels like Star Wars series, Stupendous Wave, Star Wars comics, and all that stuff there. Watching scenes from all the Star Wars movies out there. Just watching and watching to keep me occupied here. I got to watch something.
Right.
Because most of the time I've been watching, the World Wrestling Enema. And of course, AEW at times. I was also watching episodes of the original Law and Order, Criminal Intent as well,
Right.
as some SVUs there. And it's like, I was keeping my time, doing a lot of stuff there, sitting around, only going to the grocery store here and there to get a couple things, mask included. So I found this little thing here. I guess what it is like I guess they're coming out with the there's talk possibly doing a let me get here Sith let me get out here. Son of a name. I'm trying to. Okay, here we go there. This is from Reddit.com there. Now, possibly there's talk right now that there's going to be a new Star Wars movie or trilogy coming out.
Really?
Yes. Now, from what I understand here.
Well, if George Lucas doesn't have a part in it, I'm not interested.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess you were not a big fan of the sequels there, I guess.
I watched them.
All right.
Well, except for the 9th one.
Yeah. Well, we don't know who's going to be involved in this one here. This is the one we're looking here. We got this covered.com. Now, let me pop it up, motherfucker. Let's get this thing here. All right, there. Now it's going to be coming up. Now, according to this article, and this is from a report from a YouTuber named Mike Zero, zero with an H at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it appears that Gal Gadot, who has played Wonder Woman in the DC universe, there, the cinematic universe, in both Wonder Woman movies and the Justice League movie and the, of course, Batman versus Superman. She is apparently on her way to the Star Wars universe to play a Sith princess, according to a new rumor. Now, Mike Zero, as you know, has done a lot of reports and behind the scenes, stuff going within what's going on within Lucasfilms, Disney, what's going on with Kathleen Kennedy and the other guys, Lucas, Mike, Dave Filoni, and Jon Favreau. What's going on with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming up there, this and that. And apparently he has had some accurate scoops, but also has a reputation for being off the mark, according to this article. Now, earlier this year, Mike Zero claimed that, get this, Keanu Reeves is boarding the franchise in the role of King Valar, Valar, in a movie that's supposed to take place in the Old Republic era. And now he is stating that Gal Gadot will appear in the same project, which could become either a one movie or a trilogy. Reeves' character will have connections to the ancient Sith, and joining him in the series will be Gadot as a Sith princess, and quote unquote will be a part of this dark side oriented family. And of course, Zero informed that the Sith-related clan will be the evil equivalent to the Skywalkers. And apparently the movie trilogy will be released, of course, through Disney Plus instead of going into theaters.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So that's how they're going to try to get subscribers.
Yeah, basically Disney Plus and all these streaming channels are the main thing right now. We have the theaters and on HBO Max for the Wonder Woman 1984, the 4-hour-long Justice League. I'm still waiting for the 4-hour version of Revenge of the Sith to be compiled and pre-released.
Wow.
Yes, that's what I heard. There's a 4-hour featuring a whole bunch of deleted scenes in there. And one thing I want to see him work on is the extended work on Darth Vader preparing the suit, his breathing apparatus, and everything else. Because what I heard, it didn't just take a long set of minutes. It took about a couple days.
Wow.
Because we didn't really get that much in the original Revenge of the Sith. When you think about it there, it was only just, a couple of scenes here and there between Padme getting birth and this going on.
Yeah, can you rank the 9 Star Wars movies in the order of preference for you?
Well, I'll give it a shot there. When you let me give it a shot there. I will try. I would have to say, let's see. I'll go with 9. The bottom with number 9 would have to be The Last Jedi.
Okay, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. The number 8 would have to be, Attack of the Clones, Episode 2. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was a good, but
was that the one where they introduced? No, that's not the Jar Jar Binks one.
No, that was Episode 1, which is at number 7.
Yeah, and I'll go along with that mainly because of Jar Jar Binks.
Okay. Number 6 would have to possibly be let's see there, have to be The Force Awakens because it was new. It was interesting to see there.
Right.
Number 5 would have to be, let's see.
So far, I'm in line with your choices.
Have to be, let's see. I did. This is out of the blue, so you have to forgive me for taking my
That's
time on
okay.
this one. I'm here. Let's see. We had about.
This is when it gets tough.
Yeah, it really gets tough there because I'm trying to, put all together there, get everything in line. I mean, and remember, I don't really come up with lists, as you know. I usually just lump them all
Yeah.
together there.
Well,
But
in my mind, I'm thinking it's probably you didn't mention number 8.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, the Last Jedi.
Oh, I thought that was number 9.
Yeah, that was number 9. Not on the list there. Episode 8 is at number 9. That's what I meant to say there. You usually just go by the main titles there at times. Which, by the way, I'm glad they redeemed Luke Skywalker for the ending of the second season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
They did a great job on that one. That's the Luke we know and love. The badass Luke. And of course, let me go on carrying on by my list. You know, I would have to say, The Force Awakens would be next there. I already mentioned that there, yes.
Yeah, I was thinking so.
You know,
Well,
Rise of Skywalker would be next,
yeah.
and of course, number 3 would have to be,
4.
4. I thought I did. I lost track, man. I got to write this
Okay.
down then.
You haven't done any of the top 3. The middle trilogy, and the one that Darth Vader was born
Oh
in.
yeah,
And I forget
that's
the name
right.
of that.
Revenge of the Sith. My bad. That's number 4.
Yeah.
And
I agree with all of that so
yeah,
far.
absolutely. And the top 3 would have to be, starting out with, The Empire Strikes Back. It'd be number 3. Number 2 would be Return of the Jedi, which, by the way, was originally supposed to be called Revenge of the Jedi, but that was changed because the Jedi does not take revenge. And of
Right.
course, number 1, the one that started it off for me, A New Hope. Well, actually, we all at that time was, when it first came out, was simply Star Wars.
Yeah. And, man, I can remember when I went to see it at the theater, I was like, at the
Holy
end of it,
moly.
I was like, wow.
We all were like that. Everybody. When we first saw that Star Destroyer from overhead, it's like, holy, how big is that damn thing?
Yeah.
Wow. So, I guess that concludes our show for today there.
Yeah.
All right. So, for the time being there, want to remind
And
everybody.
we'll
Go ahead.
see everybody on ELP Thursday.
That's right. This coming Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, an hour ahead before my stint with Real Spuck TV. Definitely just tune in for both programs there. All right. So, that's it for tonight. And for Arknolia and myself, you guys have a good Monday evening.
Right.
All
We'll
right.
see you.
All right. Bye-bye.